This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com and GatheringMagic.com, your place to explore the game.
Hey everyone, I'm back with another deck tech for you. This time I'm going to show off probably my absolute favorite commander that I enjoy playing, and that is Thrun, the Last Troll. And this is the deck. Okay, of course, again, the general is Thrun the Last Troll. I do run him over Azusa and Omnath just because I feel like everybody runs those two generals, and I really wanted to do a mono green deck that basically ran someone that you don't see a ton of. Plus the fact that he can't be countered, has hexproof, and can regenerate, all for just 4 mana and a 4/4 creature. It's pretty good. And here's the deck. Mono green deck, obviously run a lot of forests. Yeah, 35 snow-covered lands. I really enjoy the snow-covered lands. I like the art on them. Then the next lands we have that are non-basics, we run Radiant Fountain. This is just gain 2 life and usually a sacrificing part for Harrow. Yavimaya Hollow, regenerated creature, pretty good. Temple of the False God, pretty standard. And now for the artifacts, pretty standard here. Soul Ring, Elixir of Immortality, one of my favorites. Love being able to get some life and shuffle my deck. Lightning Greaves, give some haste, always good. Cage Sun, double the mana and give all my creatures +1/+1, also very good. I'll take a second to explain this card. This card is a card I probably don't see in any EDH decks. It's a 3-drop artifact that says whenever any player, that includes you and everybody around you, plays a land, that player gets to draw a card. Now, I know you're thinking, give everybody a chance to draw some cards. Well, it's kind of a little bit of a political card. Plus, this is a green deck that likes to draw a lot of cards, so it helps me as well. Manabond, love this card. Discard phase. I can basically discard or put all the land in my hand into play, and all I have to do is discard the rest of my hand. Usually I have a ton of lands in my hand when I do this, and I'm also drawing a lot of cards, so I can just sacrifice creatures to draw cards, and I'll show you the card that does that later. Rites of Flourishing, everybody gets to draw an extra card, play an additional land. This is also very good with the Horn of Greed. Everybody will pretty much draw up to 4 cards if they get 2 lands in their hand. Elemental Bond, whenever a creature power 3 or greater comes to the battlefield in my control, I draw a card. Frontier Siege, I always usually go with the cons on this one, get 2 green mana on both of my main phases. Abundance, instead of drawing a card, I basically choose land or non-land, and I reveal until I get what I want. This really does shut down Nekuzar a lot. Vernal Bloom, whenever a forest tapped for mana, it produces additional green. So basically, this also affects everybody on the board, but you know, I don't run across a ton of mono green decks, so it doesn't help them out as much as it does for me. Greater Good. This is the draw engine I was talking about. This is probably my favorite card in the entire deck. 4 mana. Whenever I sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power, and then discard those cards. Very helpful for people who are trying to exile my creatures, or even when someone wraths the board, I can get some value off my creatures being on the field. Zendikar's Roil. Whenever a land comes into the battlefield, put a 2/2 elemental token on the battlefield. This is a recent addition, and I really enjoy it. Animist Awakening, basically a Genesis wave for lands. Love that card. Explore, play an additional land, draw a card. Nature's Lore, search your deck for forest, put into play, untapped, which I like. Cultivate, get 2 lands, put 1 into play tapped, the other in your hand. Harrow, it's an instant speed, get 2 lands, put into play untapped. You have to sacrifice a land, but you're still gaining a land on top of it. Usually, like I said, I'm sacrificing that Radiant Fountain with this. Skyshroud Claim, get 2 forest, put them into play untapped. Ranger's Path, get 2 forest, put them into play. Unfortunately, these ones come into play tapped, but it's still good. Some artifact destruction here and enchantment. Actually, this is removal. This exiles them. Fade Antiquity, exile enchantment or artifact. Beast Within, destroy a permanent. That player gets a 3/3 beast. Whirlwind, destroy all flyers. I only run 1 flyer in this entire deck, so it's not, you know, terrible if I get this card and play it. Constant Miss. This is a pretty crazy card. Basically, it's a fog that I can buy back by sacrificing a land. And this card can get, you know, pretty good for me, especially if I'm playing against a deck that has no counter spells. I can almost make it sure no one's dealing actual combat damage to me ever. Light's Legacy. Sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power. Always very good. Harmonize, draw 3. Regrow, get a card back from my graveyard in my hand. Restock, get 2 cards back from my graveyard in my hand. Unfortunately, this exiles though. Praetor's Counsel, get all my cards in my graveyard back to my hand and have no maximum hand size, but this gets removed. Genesis Wave, reveal the top X cards in my library for the amount of X I pay, and all permanents that have X or less come in the battlefield. Very good card. To the Nail, search for, basically, if I pay the Entwine cost, I can get 2 creatures, search for them in my deck, put them in my hand, and then put any 2 creatures from my hand into play. So I don't even need, if I have 2 creatures that are really good, that are in my hand that I already want to play, I can go ahead and just search for 2 other creatures just to put in my hand, and on top of that, take those 2 big creatures that I have in my hand and put them in play, which is very good. Overwhelming Stampede, this is pretty much one of my finishers in the deck. This is how I finish multiplayer games off. I just get my creatures out on the board, and usually I'm making my creatures, you know, anywhere from +10/+10s to I've had my Primal Crux on the battlefield become a 30/30, so all my creatures get +30/+30 and trample, and that's really ridiculous. Now for the creatures in the deck. Veteran Explorer, when this guy dies, everybody gets to get 2 basic lands put in play untapped. Elvish Mystic, taps for a little ramp there. Sakura-Tribe Elder, sacrifice it, get a basic land, put it in play. Whisper of the Wilds, taps for 1 green mana. I can tap for 2 if I have a creature with 4 or greater on the battlefield, which I usually do, so tapping for 2 is always very nice. Den Protector, pretty much an Eternal Witness that Megamorphs, and I get that +1/+1 counter on it, becomes a 3/2 creature. Pretty good. Heir of the Wilds, this is a card that I'm probably thinking about maybe taking out, but we'll see. I mean, it's mainly in here because it's an early drop that has Death Touch, and that's about the only reason why it's in here. There's a chance I might take it out for something else, but we'll see. Just a matter of time. Eternal Witness, pretty much a staple in any green deck. Get a card back from your graveyard to your hand. Wood Elves, get a forest put into play, untapped. Yavimaya Elder, when this guy dies, get 2 lands and put them in your hand. You can also sacrifice him to draw a card and get the lands, which is pretty good. Reclamation Sage comes in the battlefield, destroy an artifact or enchantment, very good. Surak, the Hunt Caller, 4 mana for a 5/4 that says whenever I have 8 or more power on the battlefield, during my combat phase, I can give one of my creatures haste, which is very good. Nylea, God of the Hunt, basically makes all my guys trample, and then I can pay 4 to give one of my creatures +2/+2 until end of turn. Very nice. Nylea's Disciple. This lets me gain a lot of life. Usually when I drop her, I'm gaining anywhere between 10 and 20 life, maybe sometimes more, which is very good. It gets me back in the game if I've lost a lot of life early. Roaring Primadux, this card is also very good with Nylea, or any of my creatures in the deck that have enter the battlefield abilities. It says, at the beginning of my upkeep, I get to return a creature card that I control to my hand. So usually I'm returning Eternal Witness, Nylea's Disciple, or just something that's going to destroy something or have some really good ability. He gets destroyed a lot when it comes into play because people realize what he can do. He is kind of a surprise creature. Not a lot of people see him coming, which I like. Conclave Naturalists, 4/4 for 5 that lets me destroy an artifact or enchantment. Very good. Indrik Stomphowler, basically same thing. 5 mana for a 4/4 creature that destroys an artifact or enchantment. Acidic Slime, 5 mana for a Death Touch 2/2 that destroys an artifact, enchantment, or land. As you can tell, I run a lot of artifact and enchantment removal. In my play group, I tend to run across a lot of people who run some artifacts and enchantments that just do some really nasty things, and we gotta get rid of those. Wolfir Silverheart, when he soul bonds to a creature, that creature and him get +4/+4. So I've done this. I've soul bonded him to Thrun before, and turned Thrun into an 8/8 creature and attacked, which is very good. Or I've just put him on something else that's really good. He's a very handy creature. I like him a lot. Terror Stomper, 6 mana for an 8/8 trampler that can't be countered. Not a whole lot to say about that guy, but he's just amazing. Especially the fact that he can't be countered and he's so big. He's also a very good fodder for a cheap way to put out an 8/8 creature to block, and then maybe sacrifice with greater good. Rampaging Baloth, 6/6 for 6 that puts out 4/4 green beast tokens into play whenever I play a land. Very good. Solar Harvest, whenever I play a non-token creature, I get to draw a card. Very good. Primal Crux, this is a creature I was telling you about earlier. 6 mana for a trampler that has power and toughness equal to the number of green mana symbols I have on the board. I've had this creature come on the battlefield and be anywhere between a 10 power all the way up to in the 30s if I just Genesis Wave. Usually when I Genesis Wave for about 20, 25, this guy will be in the 30s or somewhere. Sometimes even more. It depends on just what I get out in the battlefield. Sandsep Mastodon, 7 mana for a 5/5 with reach that bolsters 5. I can't tell you how many times I've played this guy after I've ramped and played Thrun and turned Thrun into a 9/9 regenerating creature, and that can get pretty scary too. Colonial Behemoth, 9/9 Shroud. This guy is just mainly in there because I like the fact that he can't be targeted by my opponents. He's big, he blocks, and if I get an Ilea out, he has Trample, which gets pretty scary too. Also a good sacrificing fodder for greater good as well. And the only flyer that I run in the deck, Hornet Queen, 7 mana for a 2/2 Death Touch that puts out 4 other Death Touch insect tokens with flying in the battlefield. Very nice. Avenger Zendikar, 7 mana for a 5/5 that puts out 0/1 plant tokens equal to the number of lands I have. Whenever I play a land, and those tokens get +1/+1 counters. If I play that Animist Awakening card for about 20 or more, and he's on the battlefield, and he can attack with those tokens, that's pretty much end game at that point. Terrastodon, 8 mana for a 9/9 that lets me blow up 3 permanents, non-creature permanents actually. And for each permanent destroyed, they get a 3/3 creature, or that controller does. More often than not, I've actually destroyed my own stuff with this. I've actually destroyed 3 of my own lands, and just because I've ramped so much, it's just I mean, I have a few extra ones I don't mind destroying just to get myself some extra creatures to attack next turn. So that's always good. And probably my 2 favorite creatures in the deck, Worldspine Worm and Darksteel Colossus. Both 11 costing creatures. One is a 15/15 trampler. The other one's an 11/11 trampler. Both creatures, whenever they get put into the graveyard, shuffle back in my deck, which is very nice, so they can't be reanimated by my opponents, which I really enjoy. And then when this guy dies, I get 3 5/5 worm tokens. He is amazing to sacrifice to greater good if I need to. The value I get off of him, drawing 15 cards, and only having to discard 3, and then putting 3 5/5 tokens that I can also sacrifice later to draw some more cards, is amazing. So all in all, with the worms I get off this thing, the potential draw power is I can draw over 30 cards with just one creature leaving the battlefield, and that is absolutely amazing. This will usually get me anything that I need in my deck into my hand. And then Darksteel Colossus is indestructible, which is just amazing. And that's the deck. Thank you for watching CMDR decks. Please subscribe and favorite.